If you love fall as much as we do, stay tuned to learn step by step how we make this beautiful wood grain PeekABoo fall tumbler. Hi, I'm Jessica with JC Creative, and if this is your first time here, I would like to welcome you. If you are a fellow creative who loves to do DIY projects, from home decor, tumblers, teas, you are in the right place, and I am glad you're here. And I would encourage you to subscribe to my channel below and be sure to ring the little bell to be notified of all the great DIY tutorials I post each and every Monday. So what's better than a pumpkin spice latte or a warm apple cider? Drinking it out of a pretty tumbler, of course. So on this week's episode of Make It Monday, we are going to continue our fall series. If you missed last week, we made a beautiful wreath for our front door, under $30, so be sure to check out that video. And today we are going to make this multi-layered PeekABoo tumbler. So our leaves are popping through with a beautiful wood grain finish and a special custom decal. But before we get started, I do want to ask you to be sure to watch to the end to find out how you can get this SVG file completely free. So if you're ready to get started, let's go. Okay, so quick rundown of what we're going to need for this tumbler. We're going to do a glitter swirl layer. Then we are going to put on decals. Then we are going to paint it with a white primer. Then we're going to wood grain it. Then we're going to peel those decals, which creates our PeekABoo effect. And then we're going to add a decorative decal, and then we're going to top it all off with a perfect layer of epoxy. So for this project, you are going to need some glitter. We are going to be using, I have a apple green, sunflower yellow, and ruby red slippers. That's going to be my bottom layer. I am going to use a 2-part A and B epoxy in this process. I use a flat white primer. This is what I'm going to use when we go over our glitter layer. For my alcohol inks, I have a mustardy yellow, a brighter yellow, and then a darker brown. This is what I use to create my wood grain with. I have my background leaf layer for my PeekABoo, and then I have my multicolored decal that I'm going to use for my decorations. And then you need your standard stuff, your rubber gloves, your brush if that's how you apply it, your torch for popping your bubbles. You need your tumbler, primed white. This is what I use. I'm using a 30-ounce hog tumbler on this one. So step 1, we are going to glitter our tumbler. So for this glitter layer, I always use the epoxy method pretty much for attaching my glitter, but on this layer we want to do a swirl, which means we're going to use a little bit more epoxy than we typically would use to just put like a base coat. I want the colors all to swirl together. So I am going to grab my epoxy stuff here. I'm going to mix mine in just a little Dixie cup thing. I'm going to do 30 mLs of A, and I'm going to do 30 mLs of B. Now, if you've watched my other videos, if you haven't, jump over to my channel. I've got a bunch of other videos, but you will see in all my videos, my process for epoxy is I always warm up part A, and then I mix in part B, and then I put it on my tumbler. So I'm going to fast forward that little piece of it, and then I'll come back when we're getting ready to add it to the cups.
Okay, so I have my epoxy ready to go. I'm going to turn on my turner. And when I do a swirl cup, first thing I do is get a nice good layer of epoxy down on the cup. So I'm going to do that first. And you want, for swirl cups, you want the epoxy to be thick because we're going to warm it up and we're going to kind of make the colors blend together. But we want to make sure every piece of this area is covered in epoxy. All right. It's looking pretty good. I got the bottom. I'm going to set my epoxy aside real quick. Oops, sorry guys. I'm going to take these gloves off while I work with my glitter because I don't want epoxy all over my glitter bags. I am going to put a piece of paper down to try to catch my glitter, but I am not going to, for sake of time, I'm not going to like catch each color and put it away. I'm just going to simply mix it all together. I'm going to start with my yellow first. Make sure I get a little bit on the bottom. Now keep in mind, this cup is going to get covered all the way with paint, so we're not going to see all of it. You're only going to see where the leaves are popping through. So I do want a good blend of colors here. On some of the green. My thought was I wanted it to look like leaves that were, you know, transitioning, just like in the fall. And I'm putting that darkest color of that red on last because it's probably going to be pretty powerful. Anyways, all this glitter I'm going to let mix together. I can either use it on the cup, pick it back up and use it on the cup, or I have a dump cup that I like to throw it into and I use it for projects. See, that red kind of takes over, so I didn't want to use a ton of it. Okay. So I got it pretty covered. I'm going to throw a new glove on here. And I'm going to get this swirl here. So I'm going to take my epoxy and I am going to just start adding a real thick layer of epoxy here. And then I'm going to warm it up. And really get it flowing around this cup. And I'm going to add some more glitter as I do this, but I really want these all to start swirling together. And you'll see it happening too. Get that glitter flowing. And I'm going to add some more glitter. Actually, actually going to get a clean little measuring cup, and I'm going to scoop up some of this glitter that's down here because it's already blended together. Adding some more yellow. I love this yellow. And it looks kind of weird now, but when this gets all swirled up and we stick those, help it along here a little bit. Maybe a little more epoxy here. And I know you can see it dripping, so that means this epoxy is really flowing good. And epoxy is self-leveling, so it will level itself out. So I put on more than we need. Some of it will come off, but it's all good. It's gonna have a really pretty swirl when it's done. Just adding a little green too. I wish the colors showed better on the video. They don't, but they're super pretty here. And they'll look great as leaves. I want to make sure this is all mixed together here. Just got a few humpies that I want to help along. And as this spins over the next 6-8 hours or so, it's going to keep moving, at least for the next hour or two. And these are going to be really pretty leaves. They really are. There's just enough green. A good mix of the red and the yellow. So I'm going to let this spin for 6 to 8 hours, and then when we come back, we're going to apply our decals, our leaves, that is going to be our PeekABoo, and then we're going to spray paint that. We're going to wood grain and keep moving along from there. So we're going to let this dry, and we'll be back soon. Okay, so we have our cup. It's completely dry. All of our glitter swirl on there. So we have to make our PeekABoo. And in order to do that, you want to cover part of your cup with decal shapes. So we have this file, and these are our fall leaves, and we're going to take these leaves and put them on our cup, and then we're going to spray paint them. So these decals are all going to be part of the kit for this this cup. I know that I need a blank space in the front here where I'm going to put my main decal after all of our work is done. So I'm kind of going to leave that open, and I'm just going to randomly place some leaves on our cup. And I'm trying to find some good spots where the glitter's nice and mixed, where I like the look. Because when you peel this off, that's all of this glitter you're going to see. I'm just going to work my way around the cup. Put our little leaves here. Now I'm using standard 651 Oracal. Some people like to buy the, I think it's 631. That is less sticky. They find it peels off easier, but honestly, I don't have any issues using just my normal old vinyl. I buy all of my vinyl, and I'm probably gonna put my decal, my other decal in here, so it's okay that if those and those, but most of the words will run there, I think, or even there. Anyways, I buy all my vinyl at US Cutter, and I buy big 50-yard rolls because that is what I get the best bang for my buck. I pay like, I don't know, I think like ends up being like 50 cents a foot or something. I put one on the bottom. One down in here. I think that's good. So when then we peel that, after we paint and peel this, those will be shined through with glitter. So the next step is I'm going to take our decal cup and I'm going to put a layer of white flat primer on here. This is what I use, Rust-Oleum 2x Ultra Cover Flat White Primer. And I'm going to put a good coat of that on, and then we're going to come back and we are going to do the wood grain. Okay, so we're back, and I have my cup painted with my white primer. It's all dry, and you can still kind of see the outlines of your leaves. Now I'm going to put a wood grain over this. So what I use to do my wood grains, I mean, you can use all different colors, but these are like the three colors that I like to use. I've got like a mustard yellow, a bright yellow, and then this darker brown, and I'm going to use them all together. You need your 91% alcohol. You need some brushes. These are the two that these are my two go-to. Got a little cup for my alcohol. I got a rag to blot my brushes in. And I even have like a little tray to mix some of the alcohols in, like alcohol inks in. So I'm going to start, try to adjust the camera so you guys can see everything that's going on here. So I'm going to put a little alcohol in my cup there. And I'm going for a lighter wood grain effect here. Make sure you guys can see. Okay, so I'm gonna start. I'm gonna dab my brush in my alcohol here and dab it off. I'm just gonna get a light coat of alcohol here. Now I have another full tutorial. It was one of the first ones I ever did, so it's a little rough, but it shows exactly like a whole detailed walkthrough on how I get kind of like a baseball bat look to my my wood grains. I'm gonna put a little brown. I'm gonna put a little mustard yellow. I gotta shake that one up too. I've been sitting a while. I'm gonna take my dampened brush. Now this first coat for me is just a base coat. I will come back in and mess with this a little bit more. So right here where I stopped, I'm just going to put some alcohol. Put some color. And then I'm going to blend them together. Kind of coming back over my original spot a little bit too. Just to keep the colors consistent. I hope you can see as well. I'm using a really light stroke when I do this. I'm not brushing very hard. All right, let's move over to here. This is just plain alcohol. I dipped and I dabbed. And I'm gonna put some yellow and put some brown. And then I'm gonna blend together. By mixing the two colors together, you do get like some nice wood grain just organically. I don't have to work for that wood grain, it's there. We got it almost halfway done, a little over halfway done actually. Same thing, dip, dab, brush on. And drop my color. And then I blend it. Now my brush is damp, so this is not a dry brush. Which is what helps blend this together here. And we'll go back in and we're going to get some knots and stuff in there. So dip, dab, drip, blend. Dip, dab, drip, blend. Dip, dab, drip, blend. Now on the bottom, Same thing, I get this a little damp with my alcohol. And I just kind of go in a circle. I'm trying to make a wooden ring almost. Blend it into the edge. Where I got it coming over. Like right there. Just grab that and kind of fluff it. Spread it out, blend it out there a little bit. Okay, so this is my base coat wood grain. And honestly, I could leave it just like this if I wanted to. But I do, now I'm going to put the lids on my alcohol ink right now. If I'm not using the alcohol ink at this second, I'm going to slip the lids on. Alcohol ink dries really fast. I use a needle to like clear the tips of these little applicator bottles. And I have links to all the stuff that I use below. There's a link to a shopping page that has everything that I use. So when I do my wood grains, this little brush is my best friend. This is like a eye makeup brush. You can get these at the Dollar Tree, and this is like a Wet n Wild brand. You also can get them on Amazon. I have both. So I took my brush and I dipped in the alcohol. Now I want to put a knot somewhere. Let's see. Let's pick a place. How about here? We'll do a knot in here. So I'm going to start like here. And kind of draw out where my knot is going to be. I don't know how well you guys can see this. Like it. Put it under my wrist so I can sit this bad boy up. Give me a sec, guys. I want to make sure you do the best view possible. Okay. So you can kind of see like my rough outline here. This is dry, so I'm able to touch it, to rest my hand on it. And I put alcohol on my brush, and I'm just going to come in here and push the alcohol out of the spot. The alcohol ink, I'm sorry. Didn't work. I think my hand blocked what I was trying to show you. So I start from the bottom and I push up. And then I go back into that spot and I smooth it down. I'll show you what I do here. I'm using my brush to push the color out to make a defined line. See how it's starting to have a knot there? And then I go back to the middle and I start again. Now if I don't have enough color here, what I'll do is I'll just put a drop of color in the center here. Center where I'm trying to do my knot. And I'll use that. Spread it around here. And I'll come back in. And honestly, I take most of it away. And you can come back in from the outside here and spread it out a little bit more, make it bigger. Bigger knot. See? I'm going in and taking the ink away, basically. Spreading it out a little bit differently. And I'll keep working this until I have the shape that I want. Maybe hold it this way a little bit. Get this side. I think this knot needs to be a little bit fatter. Not so. Oh. So I'll go back in. And just define these lines. I love wood green. I honestly could sit all day and just draw out wood green. The thing about wood green is I want mine to look natural. I don't want them to look just like drawn wood grain. So I really try hard. I'm just pushing some color over there so I can get a nice defined line. As I go down the side here. And when on the side, I just try to take, smooth, pushing this up here, and then long, smooth strokes to define that line. And you can tell when your brush is getting dry because your ink isn't moving for you. So I just dip it back in the alcohol. Now see, I think it looks really good, but I'm going to add a little bit of color in the middle. One drop is all I added, because it was getting a little light here in the middle. there you go. There's a knot in my wood. And I might put another one like down in here. Oh, that one I lost my. Hold on a sec. I didn't want to go that far up. Oh man. So here's a cool thing about alcohol ink. So I messed that up. So I just take my damp alcohol inked brush here, and I'm just going to blend that section back in. A couple drops of ink. There you go, because I didn't want that not that far up. I just wanted a little one in there. But I had too much alcohol on my brush. And so this one I'm just kind of drawing a circle. And then I'll go in and put more defined circles in there. And all I'm doing is, I didn't add any ink to this brush. I'm taking the existing ink and I'm manipulating it into defined rings. Because that's what your alcohol does. It pushes it and moves it. And then there's a little baby ring there. And you can make these as big or as little as you want. You know, I'm not in love with this ring over here, or this knot. I don't know, that's the problem. So I'm going to fast forward a little bit of this. I'm going to finish doing my wood grain. You get the point of kind of what I do. And then we're going to come back. When I'm done wood graining, I'm going to spray a clear coat on it. And then I'm going to peel our leaves, and we're going to see what our PeekABoo looks like. So I'll be back in a few. Okay, so I'm done messing with my wood grain. I've got it kind of the way I want it. So I'm going to now remove my vinyl stencil protector here or whatever to show our PeekABoo. There's our first leaf. Second. Now, if I can't get a hold of an edge, I will come in the middle of whatever I'm trying to do and I'll cut a line and then I'll peel it from the center and pull outwards. So if you ever have a one where you can't get the outside edge, just start in the middle where you know you're safe and you're not going to be messing up whatever layer you got on top. See that little leaf? He's super cute. Just cut a line in the middle and then peel back from the center. Now let's see, is that all of them? Oh, nope, it's not. I remember I put one on the bottom. There, my little blade fell out of my X-Acto knife, so I'm going to be really careful. Just get this one started. Stuck to my fingers. All right, so I think that's all of them on my little leaves. Popping through my wood grain. Oh, I did forget one. There's one. It was super camouflaged here in with my wood grain. So just take your time, make sure you get them all. You don't want to leave any in there when you're getting ready to epoxy. Okay, so I need to now put on our decal, and I think I can put it here next to that knot or here, and I think I'm going to put it here. So I'm going to switch the camera so you can see exactly what I'm doing. Okay, so the decal I'm going to use is 4 colors: orange, gold, green, and black. So I have these all cut out in little individual squares for layering. I normally don't do this I'm doing this for myself, but to show you guys, and if you want to buy the SVG and cut yourself, I've included little alignment dots in the cut file. So you would take your little 4x4 square of orange. And I'm just going to burnish it, make sure it's all peeling off here. Alright, and I want my design, keeping in mind that I know that there's a top to this, so I'm going to kind of put this in here. Okay. So that's color number 1. This is the orange. Oh. Okay. So see my dots there? I'm going to do the green one next. Uh-oh. Went to pull it up and the words didn't all come. Okay, so if you kind of line up your little dots, your design's going to be pretty darn close. Now because of the taper of this, I only did the top half of the green. I'm going to come down here and I'm going to do the bottom half of the green to make sure that I'm in the right spot. Alright, there's that. So the black, I mean, honestly, I've been doing vinyl for, I don't know, 10, 15 years. I learned how to do vinyl doing trade show displays many moons ago. One of my first art director positions, that's what we did. And I'm going to eyeball to make sure those dots are kind of in there, but I know where this pattern's supposed to go. But you can see my dots are aligning. Again, I'm only going to do the top. I'm going to do the bottom separate, only because you're working on a tapered surface. If you were putting this on a flat surface, this would be cake. It would just line right up. My cup's shifting. I really hope I'm getting this in the camera. Right now I got the camera really high up. It's like way above me. And so even on my tippy toes, I can hardly see the screen. And I cut and designed this with an offset, so the black letters would have some air around them. And this is the last one, and it goes kind of right in there, and it should fit perfectly. So this SVG file is going to be available on my website. Also, you'd be able to order, if you don't have a cut or a silhouette, you can order this decal already ready to go on your items. So I'm just going to kind of eyeball up there where the dots are. Actually, I think he moves over here a little bit. Yeah, that's closer. Okay. So if you use the dots, go back in and just peel them off. We don't need those. We don't want those on our cup. It is a way, it's just for folks who are new to vinyl, who are not comfortable layering and want to make sure you get it layered right. Just a guide marker. They're like crop marks. You just use them to line things up. And there we go. Pumpkin spice and everything nice. So now this is ready for our top coat of epoxy. So let's get that back out, switch the camera, and we'll be good to go. Okay, so I am ready to get my cup on my turner. For my tutorials, I use the single cup turner from Tracy and Chayaz Crafting Solutions, and they come with these really cool vices. And apparently I was showing you guys all wrong when I originally got this thing. So I'm just going to put it in far enough to be at the top, and then I'm going to push this down till it's snug. And then I'm just going to turn it. Apparently I was putting it in way too far into my cups. So they corrected me. And I promised I would show it the right way. And it adjusts to go in any size cup, really. I'm just going to make sure it's level in there. Which is easier to see once I get it on. Oh, I loosened it too much. Perfect. Okay, so time for epoxy. And everyone here who has watched any of my other videos knows my epoxy method. I do use a part A, or B, a part A, B solution. I use Pro Marine. I like to warm up part A before I mix in part B. I feel that part A, you'll see, is very thick, and it's much thicker than B, and I just feel that they mix together better when they're the same consistency. So I always warm up part A, and then I add my part B to that, and then I put on a thin coat and then a flood coat. So I'm going to fast forward the part where I am warming and mixing my epoxy. So warm A, mix in B, stir till clear, ready to go on cup. So I'm going to fast forward that part, and then I'll be back when I'm ready to put it on the cup. Okay, I am ready to put my epoxy on my cup, but I kind of want it to shimmer a little bit, so I'm going to put just a touch of our Frosty Snow Glitter in my epoxy. Just a touch, and that'll give the top coat just a little sparkle. Not a lot, just a little. And I'm just going to stir that in real quick. It'll just add a shimmer to the thing. So let's turn on our turner. Clean off my metal spatula. And again, there's links to my bowls, my spatulas, everything that I use below. So like I mentioned before, I'm going to do a thin layer and then I'm going to come back and top coat it. So right now I just want enough epoxy to wet the cup. I just want to make sure all of the spots, there's no dry spots left. I have no idea what happened here. I either bumped it with alcohol or something happened there, but I have like a white spot and I'm not sure how I can fix that. But I'm kind of committed now, so we're going to go ahead and keep putting this epoxy on and I'll see what I can do. So I put my thin layer on and then I hit it with my torch. And then I go back in and I pour a little bit more on. It's like what I call my flood coat. So honestly, that little spot that's down there in front, I'll probably use it to put a name on it. Smoke and mirrors, smoke and mirrors. The rest of the cup looks too good to mess up trying to fix that spot. So I will just leave that. A name will go perfect there. It'll cover up our blemish. No one but you guys will ever know it was there. Epoxy is self-leveling, so it will level itself out. So I'm just making sure I don't have any really super thick spots. And the rest I'm going to leave to gravity to do its job. Let that turn a second. And then I'm going to hit it with the torch one more time. And then we are going to let this baby dry. So when we come back, we should have a perfectly smooth, dry cup. So I will see you in a few. So I got our cup off the turner and I really, really like it. It turned out perfect. The epoxy is perfectly smooth. Our flowers are popping through wonderfully. The decal is good. The wood green's good. Like, I really, really love this cup. So I do have to tell you, after our when I stopped the last recording, a few minutes after, while our epoxy was still wet, we had that little white spot there where I must have accidentally like bumped it with alcohol or something. And I thought maybe I would go back and put a decal. Well, I decided to take my little silicone brush with just a little bit of alcohol ink, and I just brushed a little in there so you can see we covered up that spot really, really well. It blends in perfectly. You can't even tell that there was a mistake. So now I don't have to put a name decal in here. I can always add one, but this one now I can sell at my fall shows coming up. So this, I love the tumbler. It turned out good. So if you are one of those folks who watch the end, you're probably wondering how you can get this SVG for free. So below this video is a link that will take you to where you can get a free download for that. There's also a link for our Facebook group if you would like to join us. We do lots of fun stuff in there. I give away lots of things. We share projects. We talk. It's a really, really fun place. And also there's a link below to this entire kit. If you would like to buy the glitter that we used, a pre-made decal that we used, even a tumbler to put it on, that link is below as well. All that's available on our website, so you can follow that link. And then the final link below is actually a link to all the supplies that we use, all the fun things that we use. My turner, my epoxy, my brushes, everything that I use, I've gathered in a nice convenient spot on my website for you guys to browse, and you can shop, and I try to find the best prices for you, so you can click on those links as well. So I am glad you joined us, and until next time, I will see you guys next Monday.